Very, very, very strange. All right. Well, welcome, folks. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's that we've had some sound issues. Welcome, folks. This is the Battlefront Livestream podcast. I am your host, as always, Nathan P. Butler of the Star Wars Report's Rebels Roundtable and Star Wars Beyond the Films over at StarWarsReport.com. Also of the Star Wars Timeline Gold over at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline. I'm getting my shit all confused. With me this time is Michael Morris, one of the hosts of Cloud City Casino, also on StarWarsReport.com, a podcast dedicated to Star Wars gaming. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, you do a whole lot more stuff than me.
Yeah, well, not for long. I will be gone from Rebels Roundtable when Season 2 is over because I value my marriage and time more than, the podcasting, because it's just sucking up way too much time. It was a great thing whenever Clone Wars used to have arcs and you could record once per arc, but when it's once per week and it sucks up an entire night to record, that gets pretty ugly pretty quickly. All right, so we've got multiplayer, we've got missions. Up to you what you want to jump into. I'm just slowly working my way from 48 to 50 right now, and we've done the missions before. I don't think we've ever tried to do the missions on master level, but we can do that. Do multiplayer. You tell me. What do you want to jump into?
Let's not do the master level thing.
Okay.
Just because I've only played like maybe a couple times since I played with you last. So
okay. So so multiplayer, because you need to rank up. Do you have your Battle of Jakku setting turned on?
I do.
Okay. So we could do anything, including tipping points. You tell me a mode, and we'll just jump into it.
Oh, I don't care. You just pick one.
All right, let's go with, what's something I hate? Let's go with Droid Run.
Sounds great. Droid Run actually sounds fun. Is it that like Capture the Flag? Or am I...
Yeah, it's like moving Capture the Flag, but really the only last 30 seconds count unless one of your teams is really good. So it's kind of interesting.
That sounds like fun.
But of course, it's searching for games right now. Anyway, there we go. All right, so do you have a jump in option, or no?
Let me see.
Nope.
It looks like Sims. I'm seeing a little plus Battle of Jakku next to main game. Does that need to be anything specific?
Make sure that is marked. Make sure that is checked.
If it was marked, what would it look like?
It looks like hang on a second. I'm gonna back out to the menu for you.
Sorry.
No problem. And I can see the comments. You won't be able to see the comments and stuff. But hello, Lego Lover is back. He's taken the time to watch a couple of these previously, but last couple of times has popped up like right at the last 5 minutes at most. So let me jump back out of here. It does say spoiler warning for The Force Awakens, by the way, down at the bottom, but that is not necessarily what we're going to talk about. It's just one of those, just blanket things just in case. Okay, so on your menu, where it says main game and plus Battle of Jakku. Plus Battle of Jakku should be chosen. It should be black with yellow text.
Yes, that's what I've got going.
Okay. So if I click Droid Run, it should, let me make sure that we are still partnered up. Yep. It should, since we're partnered up and partied up, it should pull you in there or give you an option that pops up to jump in. At least it should.
I'm seeing...
Theoretically. So
I'm joining a game, but I don't see you.
I haven't shown up on the game yet. Did you choose Droid Run?
No, I just went to what you were on.
Okay, yeah, so just like...
I'm in it now, though.
Okay, so you need to one of us needs to be sitting at the menu when the other one jumps in, because that's what will draw the other person. If we both choose it, we both wind up in two separate places, which is fucking stupid, by the way.
This is really bad. Yeah, so I don't know
the menu and party system of this game is ridiculous. But then again...
All right, so do I need to quit out of this then?
Probably, because I don't think I'll be able to join. Let me see if I can join your... Well, let's try. I'm hitting join game. Let's see if I can jump in. Nope, game is full. So, yeah.
That is so dumb. Because all I did... Like, I didn't even go into Droid Run. I was just like, yeah, let's do this. And Nate's got a game. We'll jump in there. And it's like, cool, go do Droid Run. But Nate's going to stay here. Like, well, that defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Yeah, that kind of defeats the entire purpose of the party system and the partner system.
Yeah. So, are we in a party at this point then?
We're in a party because that's decided by the PS4. And that's invite to party.
Okay.
Up there at the top, the 2 out of 8. We're partnered up because we chose to partner up. but that apparently didn't work. So let me know when you're back on the main menu screen with the multiplayer types.
Yeah, that's where I am right now.
Okay, I'm going to hit droid run.
Okay.
Now this should give you a choice to come with me when it finds a game.
Okay. Hope that that's a thing that it does. I was having, the last time I was playing in a group, I was having some issues with it too. I was playing with my brother and a friend, and they're like, I've never seen this before. It hates you for some reason, so.
It seems like it. It seems kind of like that. I'm wondering if part of it, though, is that we may just be in a situation where not many people are playing Droid Run because of how bad it sucks, so.
Maybe, but I don't think that's
33% full games, 25% full games.
Jacked up system.
Oh my gosh.
And I just always end up on the lower end of the probability.
This is what it looked like whenever I first... No, we're not going to settle for empty games. Fuck that. All right, so let's go for a different mode. Let's try Turning Point. And that, again, it should be trying to pull you with me whenever I try to go.
Okay.
But what I'm finding,
if
I'm running into the same thing. Like when I first did the Battle of Jakku DLC, when it first came out and I ran a live stream on that, I got this exact same thing. Constantly searching for games, never finding one. Over and over again.
I don't have to go into Jakku. I mean, I guess technically I paid for it, but
I mean, it's free for everybody. You just pay to get a little bit early if you pre-order. And searching for 30%, 20% full games, and screw it. Okay, that didn't work either.
Wait! Your party joined the game. It just said your party joined the game.
I had to jump out, which probably means that you're going to be jumping in without me. Let me try. Nope.
Well, I didn't join it, but it gave me the option. Like,
okay, because it kept telling me that there wasn't any games open. Again. Okay. There's a reason why I hate the matchmaking on this game. This is why. Because it's fucking broken. Really retarded. Okay, I'm trying again. This time I'm trying to jump into cargo. Again, expanding the search. 66% full games. And it's still not finding anything. Hey, it found something. Oh, look. Nice. So we got a game going on here that right now is basically me, possibly you, versus 5 other freaking people.
I like those odds. Give me the bowcaster.
Oh. If that really is how this turns out, I'm going to be pissed. This is broken, ridiculous shit is what this is right now. I've never seen.
It's pretty ridiculous, but
I mean, I saw it bad when I tried to do the Jakku thing, but at least that was just not letting me in. This one looks like it's letting us in in this case, but that it's going to be a 2-on-5 match. Let's see. Okay, so friends in the game. Oh no, there we go. Now we do have other people in it. Beautiful. And we are on a Jakku map. We're on the Goazin Badlands.
Cool.
Our team we're jumping into a loop, but at least we're here.
All right.
All right.
Probably chasing after you now.
And no, Nelson in the chat says, Kylo, kill people, not destroy equipment. I gotta say the opposite. He was whenever Kylo Ren does destroy equipment when he gets pissed off in The Force Awakens. I mean, he's destroying equipment as opposed to killing his own men.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably best if you don't kill your own men. It's probably better to kill the other side.
That's why, if you take that into account, especially if you've read Lost Stars, it actually kind of is more sound for what they were doing, because Lost Stars, they basically go through each battle and talk about how each one crippled the Empire more and more as they lost more of their tacticians, and then on top of that, Vader's just like, well, I'll kill the rest of them.
Pretty much.
He was having hissy fits. At least Kylo's like, I'm gonna handle this, and I'll be cool.
Yep. All right, so now that we finally have gotten into a match, granted we're going to lose the match, this is yet another of those I must win 10 of this type of match along with all these other types of matches thing in order to unlock one of the things in the diorama kind of deals. But as I jump down here, so tell us a little bit, for those who are not familiar with it, who are watching the stream or who may be watching this later, what is Cloud City Casino? Who are you with? What's the deal? How often? That sort of thing.
So we drop every Tuesday, or we're a podcast, if you didn't catch that earlier. We drop every Tuesday, and we pretty much, we cover pretty much any aspect of fandom at this point. You know, we do a lot of talking about the gaming, collecting, and then we get a lot of different people over. We have a guest almost every single week, to someone who is pretty much a fan who's like actively doing something with Star Wars. Like we're looking at getting some of the custom figure modders, 501st members, stuff like that in the future to discuss things. We've talked with oh god, I can't remember his name, so don't tell him. The guy, who was the guy that we interviewed that did the story for the Disney Infinity?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
The
Disney
Swallow.
Infinity guy. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we interviewed him a while back. So we just do a whole bunch of stuff, but mostly we try to just make it fun conversation and just sort of joke around and stuff, rather than just being like, here's the news.
Cool. All right, and just kind of going back to what's being said in the chat here, Ben asked if we had covered Tarkin. We covered Tarkin on Star Wars Beyond the Films quite a while ago, actually. It's been a matter of months. I want to say that was one where I think we had Jonathan Brenner on with us. Not 100% certain. It's been quite a while since we covered that one. And yeah, I hate Cargo, by the way. Cargo, we can go through which ones I actually like, but Cargo is one of my absolute most hated games on this game, game types on this game. Almost as bad as Hero Hunt in terms of my loathing of this game type, but I need 10 wins eventually.
Hero Hunt is fun though. I'm terrible at it, but if anybody can actually see me now, they can see how terrible I am at this. But
yeah. We can try Hero Hunt in a second. I think the thing for me with Hero Hunt is the fact that it's one of the diorama pieces, and I actually wasn't planning on getting all the diorama pieces until I wound up realizing that I actually could probably pull it off, until noticing that one of them requires winning 10 matches in all of the original 9 game types. And that means winning 10 matches of Hero Hunt. And Hero Hunt, because of the way that it rotates, because of the fact that the only kills that count are when you are the hero or the villain.
Oh, wow.
I imagine that would be an extremely difficult one to get. So you would think that they would, that wouldn't be considered part of a requirement to get that. It's not a trophy, but it's just a diorama piece. I don't even think that there is a trophy for getting all the diorama pieces. There may be, but I don't recall seeing one. So there's a part of me that's just like, damn it, I want to unlock everything. I want all the diorama pieces. If I'm going to play this game with its basic ripped-off Battlefield everything, I want to get what I want to be able to at least get everything unlocked. Be a completist.
Yeah, that's cool. Strangely enough, and maybe it's not that strange, but 'cause I don't know how other people are doing with it, but I actually do. You said that the kills only count that they're done with a hero.
Mm-hmm.
I get far less. It's probably like 2 or 3 to 1 my kill ratio. I do better without the heroes. Don't know why, but I do.
Well, I like the heroes versus villains. I found that that's pretty fun, though. What now?
You know what? Okay, I am so full of crap. So,
you're thinking of heroes versus villains, aren't you?
That's right. Yes, that one is a lot of fun. Hero Hunt, that's right. That's the one where you go up against everybody.
Yeah, it's like 7-on-1 or whatever it is, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
That one.
Forget everything I said. I'm an idiot. Clearly, I don't play this game that much.
Yeah, I'm slowly working my way out of Destiny, so This has become the thing, and then I just finished up Halo 5, and I'm kind of trying to start working through my backlog of games at the moment instead of spending all my time on Destiny or all my time trying to get to level 50 on this so I can unlock stuff, only to realize even once you get to level 50, there's no way you've ever gotten enough credits to actually unlock everything. You still have to play enough to basically get to level 50 another time or two to be able to actually unlock everything that you can unlock on this. Not counting the diorama, I'm just talking about the stuff you can buy. So, yeah.
Right.
You really gonna walk up to me and swing at me?
We lost 0 to 10. That's
Yep, that's pretty much the way cargo goes for me constantly. Then again, talking while playing, I'm always better when I'm not broadcasting, which, you know, is easy to say because nobody's watching it, but I am actually better when I'm not broadcasting. Especially since broadcasting gives me the jerkiness even when I'm on a wired connection.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. So new news, I guess, that I'm sure at some point will pop up on Cloud City Casino. Star Wars Uprising had new content get unlocked today. Again.
Nice. I need to look into that because that one I've continued. I've actually continued to play Uprising. It's repetitive.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that I can do on the toilet. So.
And it's repetitive and it's free versus this game that is repetitive and $60-$70. Yeah. Although, of course, this has at least a lot more variety to the repetitiveness. But yeah, apparently, the way that their new model is kind of like what happened originally, where you could get to like level 40. It capped you at level 40. And you had story missions up to around that point. But then it said, nope, there won't be any more story missions until there's a sector battle won on, I think it was Anoet. And then once that sector battle is won by the community, you'll have more missions. And they've done that now several times, and each time tends to unlock between 5 and 10 new missions. It ups the level cap by anywhere between 10 and 15. So we're at a point now where I'm a level 71, I guess. Still that thing where it's kind of a little bit better. It's basically still one level per, like one story mission per level that you level up. But if you reach the cap, like I reached the cap right before this recent update unlocked more content. So I had about 4 missions that I could run before I ran into that your level doesn't match the mission thing. They have a handful less story missions available than there are levels to progress. So as soon as it unlocks new content, you can actually do several at once instead of waiting. Otherwise, you're limited to about 1 per day, 1 every other day, and that's even if you're doing all 11 of the guaranteed missions every single day. So, yeah, it's frustrating at times, but I'm finding that the story is better now that we're actually at a point where they've started to do these updates. Because that first episode, if you want to call that, the first chapter, really didn't do much with the Empire until the very, very end. Now, it actually is. It's all nicely unlocked. Let's see. Question asked if we had heard of Alan Rickman's passing. Yes, Alan Rickman. Actually, Alan Rickman and David Bowie both dying within a week of each other, both at the age of 69. I found that an odd coincidence. And, of course, I found it odd. I was kind of shocked that they were both the same age. I had no idea that those two were the same age. Then again, when I pictured David Bowie, I pictured David Bowie back in the day. So I'm not sure I could have even told you what Bowie's current age is. Actually, let me go back to the...
It's hard for me to not see him as Jareth. I mean, I know that's that's like one minor thing in his giant legacy, but if I ever think David Bowie in my head, that's what I see.
Constantly. I was never a big David Bowie fan, I guess. I knew him vaguely, and I've seen Labyrinth, but
he was that guy who was featured on the Queen song.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. He's the guy from the Queen song. No, I mean, you kind of know the guy's legacy, but you don't necessarily know... I don't necessarily know much about him, whereas I guess the opposite was the case with Rickman. I've seen tons of Rickman stuff. It would be interesting to know Rickman's place in the afterlife, given his starring role in Dogma.
Forgot about that.
Like, what? Nah. One of those films that has a lot of... Oh, it's a friggin' that R2 unit has a bad motivator, look. It's like, what if Luke was played by Michael J. Fox? This R2 unit, Doc, has a bad motivator. Ooh, a Viper probe droid. Yeah, I don't care. Where's our stuff? I'll go drop it by our defend position. Why not? Oh my god!
Like getting these pickups that
Fucking
actually
lag.
seem to be cool and helpful to me.
Nice. I'm lagging to the point where it almost feels like there's another character underneath my feet that I keep bumping into. I'm bouncing constantly. Like I'll like step back, step back. Which always...
Yeah, and you're cutting in and out too a little bit. I don't know if that's me or you, but...
I haven't noticed you cutting out, but...
For the most part, yeah.
And that was me just trying to use the remote play controls to do a melee attack, trying to tap a non-existent touchscreen. That is one thing this game does have going for it fairly well, is that even though the controls aren't that great, it does fare well enough with remote play that if you're going to break out your Vita and do some remote play, at least it plays, you know what I mean? Whereas some of them, you might as well not even bother trying. Yeah. This game, it actually works well enough.
That's good. I would rather them put more effort into doing other things, but that's just me.
Yeah, but at least it works. And I'm surprised that it works as well as it does. And the same thing with Destiny, that they work as well as they do. And it seems like they sort of customized a control scheme specifically for the remote play, because they're multi-platform games. I mean, you would figure that with Sony exclusives, but to have something that's going to be on multiple systems where remote play is really only going to affect, you know, PlayStation branded stuff, I thought it was kind of interesting. All right. I'll just stand over here and defend our little spot. There we go. Because I'm just running around like an idiot, not paying attention, so I'll just stand at our spot. Somebody does have the thing, though.
I forgot what we were doing. Yeah, I'm actually with him because I couldn't figure out how to pick it up, so he just was like idiot and grabbed it from me.
With the square?
Also, I keep... see, I never saw the square pop up. So I was like trying to
It does
look
that
for
sometimes. Same thing with Drop Zone. You might run up to the whatchamacallit, the escape pod that came down and nothing. There we go. Yeah.
Wait, so you said you had questions about that Poe comic coming out.
Yes. So they just announced today, for those who are listening and haven't seen it, they just announced today that Poe Dameron is getting his own comic. Now, this is by the same guy that did Lando and is doing Obi-Wan and Anakin, correct? Obi-Wan and Anakin, which somehow, spoiler alert, one, they haven't given a specific time frame on, except in some interviews where they say that Anakin's probably about 13. That's not very specific, but at least they gave us something. In which Anakin apparently was already planning on leaving the Jedi Order before ever running back into Padme again. The hell? Whatever.
That was interesting as shit, though.
Interesting, but
I saw that,
what?
I was like, whoa, that's...
Oh, that didn't win.
I need to find out what's going on here. So
damn it.
One thing I have, I guess I kind of need to. I'll have to be forthcoming with this because I don't normally bring it up, but I actually know the writer personally.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to do one of those full disclaimer, folks.
So, which I mean, I felt like I may have even been too harsh on Lando,
brother.
So, yeah,
you can't talk about Lando without saying brother. After those first couple
issues. I can't. I mean, there's really nothing. Although I will say, I think Alex Maleev is easily the weakest part of that comic. Phil Noto, not the case. I actually kind of know Phil as well. He lives down in Florida, and he is like one of the nicest dudes ever. Super short. The guy's like 5 foot nothing, but really, really freaking nice dude, and also a great damn storyteller. You know, the biggest thing with art is, like, yeah, it's good to make a character look like that character, but if you can't tell what's going on in the comic,
right.
Like, for instance, what was the one I read? I just, oh, yeah, like the whoever Charles has for Anakin and Obi-Wan, where it's like, okay, what's going on? Oh, I guess that's a parachute after looking at it for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like,
well, they do that with that's the same thing with Kanan the Last Padawan, or particularly whenever they had the fill-in artist come in, there are segments of that story where the only way you're able to tell two characters apart is that one of them has a scar on their face, and the problem is that the scar disappears from panel to panel, so even that isn't reliable.
Right. But I mean, even that's a little more minor as long as I mean, because for me, I'll say personally, with the Last Padawan, I never had an issue mixing those guys up because I felt like that,
the situations made it clear on that one, at least.
Right. Well, the way that they wrote the characters, it was very apparent.
You realize that's ours, and you're just like standing on ours, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, protecting it.
Just making sure. You're like standing on it, like you're trying to pick it up. And like, what is he doing, man?
Well, I didn't know if I could. I was gonna hide it.
I finally killed somebody. I finally killed some people. Oh my gosh!
And I got an assist on it.
So you know the guy that's writing here. So here's my question about that. Oh, boom. What I found interesting was that in the description of the new Poe comic, they talk about a new First Order threat that he's dealing with. That's a challenge for him. Blah blah blah. And maybe I'm giving too much credit to the story group, but Before the Awakening tells the story of how Poe was with the Republic Navy, couldn't do squat against the First Order, how he gets recruited by the Resistance, and then what his first mission against the First Order is, which is what helps set the stage for him then, and how he comes into the story of The Force Awakens. And I'm thinking that unless this is going to be him as the new Republic Navy officer, and he's going up against the First Order, and that's just something that somehow we're supposed to assume, well, it actually wasn't that he was always held back, like before the Awakening said. He just was around that time. That it seems like, especially if they try to make him a Resistance member in that story, that you're going to have a clash with Before the Awakening already within, 2 years of the start of a new continuity? 1 year of the start of a new continuity?
Well, we've already had a huge clash. I don't know if you've caught this or not, but we've actually had a huge clash that was pretty... To me, it was kind of like, okay, I guess you can explain this away, but it's not a big deal. But then they did... I guess I'll stop being vague. So...
Yeah, say, stop being vague, damn it! What are you talking about?
Lost Stars had, in my opinion, a huge continuity error.
Okay.
Where they state, Claudia Gray states that the female character, whose name I forget,
Sienna.
Deanna? Okay, there we go.
Sienna.
Sienna, there we go. Yeah, that sounds like a thing. So she claims that basically this was the first time she'd seen the Emperor when he showed up on the Death Star 2, and that everything that she'd seen was a different face, like perhaps maybe, maybe it's his younger self.
Like she didn't realize, like the propaganda made him look better than he actually looks, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the problem with that. So
Star Wars Annual 1?
They also state that, exactly, that flies in the face of it, and it's like, well, maybe that was before her time on Coruscant. It's like, no, that was exactly during
there's
her
a difference,
time
I guess.
So.
I mean, they may show. I mean, they talk about her seeing, of course, old, like his older statements and whatnot as part of like the history of the Empire and the propaganda of the Empire that they learn. But I mean, even in Episode 3, the attack upon me has left me scarred. I mean, everybody kind of knows that he's, pickled face now.
That's a good.
And weirdly, if you actually see McDiarmid from Return of the Jedi with the hood taken off in some of the photos from behind the scenes back then, they actually got the makeup almost exact, which is weird because I think he looks so different and stupid looking in Revenge of the Sith versus the way he looks in Jedi. I think it's just because they focus on his cheeks so much.
A lot of it is his. A lot of it's the prosthetics. They give him this giant rubber neck.
That's true. He's got
that's what it is.
The poofy neck.
Yeah.
You think he's related to he's related to what's his name? Dex at the diner. Lego Lover asked the question of whether we finished the campaign for Twilight of the Republic yet. I finished that one. I haven't actually finished either of the other two, The Force Awakens or Rise Against the Empire. I plan to actually do those as live streams sometime in the future, including redoing Twilight of the Republic, because I've only upgraded or maxed out Ahsoka at this point. Oh, wait, that's not one of our guys. So I was running behind somebody from the other team, just like, "Sup, bruh? How you doing, bud?"
Yeah. Well, as far as Twilight of the Republic, like my sex life, I never finish what I start. So, I haven't finished Twilight of the Republic. That part's true, but yeah. I mean, I haven't. There's so much stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
Between my work schedule, I work for the post office for anyone who doesn't know, and then I basically during the holiday season, you work literally from the day after Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve. You work every single day, and up to 12 hours a day. So that's what I was doing, and on top of that, we had this little movie that come out, and I've seen it 7 times.
Good Lord, son.
So
I've seen it 3 times at the theater at least, but 7? My God.
Well,
but this is introducing different people to it, right? By saying, "Hey, you come with us this time." No? Okay.
Not really. No. I just really, really like it a lot, and it's I've been seeing it. Like, I've been having different experiences with it too. So I saw it at the Mall of Georgia IMAX. I saw it at the Alpharetta IMAX, and I saw that with Bruce for a second time, and Kevin Reitzel, who we've had on our show a lot. And that dude's a machine. He's seen it 17 times last, or that day.
Good Lord.
I don't know if he's seen it again since. Yeah.
That is insane.
I mean, it's just one of those things, man, where we know in April it's going to be on home video.
Yeah.
And
honestly, it might as well be on home video now, as much as people are making memes based on the film, and they're drawing pictures from bootlegs. It's like, come on, dude.
True, but
for real,
I mean, still, it's
for real.
I'm glad it's not on home video now, because I want, as much as I want to be able to stop some of those scenes and go through some of that stuff, I'm really enjoying the theater experience. And there's still things like Kevin and I talked about this weekend. We're going to go see it in AMC Prime, which is basically you sit in like a lazy boy type chair.
See,
and it's got 2 nice subwoofers right behind your head.
That's kind of what we've got. You may have followed on Facebook the trials and travails of us trying to get advance tickets. How the theater that we were going to go to in Fayetteville, Georgia, was undergoing renovations and didn't sell advance tickets until 2 days before the movie came out. But the renovations made all the difference, because it's got those reclining chairs, the great sound. And I love it's less seating, but it's got so much more room for everyone.
Right.
And it seems as though
means less people, which means less probability of assholes.
Well, see that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if it's just the atmosphere that changes the assholes, because we went to see it 3 times, or I went to see it 3 times. My wife went with me twice. Not a single asshole in sight. And it blew my mind, because this is the theater I usually go to that makes me hate going to see movies in theaters. I despise that experience because of this area and the theaters down in this. You're in kind of North Atlanta area. You're kind of in the safe zone as far as that goes, relatively speaking. But don't you also have a bunch of college people? You're in Kennesaw, right?
Exactly. I'm in a college town, and that's where I've been having my issues. So I'm pretty much done.
I got it. I'm running like a bug, but I got it.
I need a better weapon. I'm using that DL-44, and I'm just not good with it.
I'm using
probably not the weapon, probably the user, but
probably the user. Oh! I'm using the T-21B and getting killed, because nobody's like escorting me at this point. But yeah, so it was a better experience. Now let me say, regarding the home video. I'm curious your thoughts on this. I mean, obviously it's all speculation at this point, but obviously the movie is released in 3D, and 3D Blu-rays are a thing, and Marvel movies do get released though not necessarily at every retailer, it seems like. They do have 3D versions of all the Marvel films that have been released in 3D, released on home video in 3D. So I'm assuming The Force Awakens will hit in 3D, but that opens the door because we know that The Phantom Menace was released in 3D in theaters. We know that Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith exist because they were shown at celebrations in 3D but never released in theaters. Do you think this is the moment they finally release the 3D prequels with it?
It better be, because I gotta tell you, man, I don't know if you've heard any of my ranting about it. That's the thing I've been waiting. I finally broke down and bought the Blu-rays, but you know, I have the I am staunchly against any of the special edition changes. You know, pretty much. I know there's been different versions or whatever that people like to cling to as a false argument, but pretty much since 1997, nothing that's been added since that point has been beneficial. And I know people are like, "Oh, this is no." You're wrong. It's okay.
Most of it's, and it seems as though, doesn't it seem as though the change, and there are some changes I'm like, all right, whatever, that's fine, but doesn't it seem like it's almost as though like Lucas was going further off the rails. It was like 97, we'll make some changes that kind of make sense. 2004, we'll make some changes that make less sense. Blu-ray, fuck it, we're just gonna make The Rock in front of R2. Who gives a shit if it's the same from the other camera angle?
Exactly, and the whole thing of, oh well, that was his original vision. First off, that was always a shallow argument, and especially when it's like, oh, so you didn't have any more rock lying around at that point, and you just couldn't complete your vision, George? Like, we've had rock technology since before man, so
pretty sure, yeah. No, I find it.
I don't know where you're going with that.
I mean, the original vision argument kind of falls apart anyway. I mean, but I think what people do is they conflate two things. You've got the original vision, and the original vision argument is BS because, I mean, he hadn't decided that Luke and Leia were siblings until making Return of the Jedi. You know, he hadn't written the prequels before actually going into production for Episode 1. It was just basically a treatment. And this is the guy that said there was going to be one film and then 12 starting with A New Hope, and then it was 9 with A New Hope as number 4, and then it was always ever going to be 6, and then it was, well, I said I wasn't going to make it anymore. I didn't say nobody else could.
Right. Yeah, he's went from 12 and back every single time.
Yeah.
So.
But I wonder if what people are conflating, and it seems like it is that they're conflating the idea of an original vision versus the creator's vision, because the creator's vision is his vision no matter what time we're talking about, and that can change. Original suggests that there was one at the beginning that then everything should be judged against, and what people take as original versus his, it's like they're saying it's the same thing. If Lucas decides, you know, all of a sudden that Greedo's a woman and just, you know, because of some, I don't know.
Greedo was a woman, as far as actor, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that Greedo as a character was a woman.
No, I know. I'm just being a...
But, oh, shit! Nuggets! Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let that... Okay, at least I killed 1 or 2 of them. I ran into the room with their cargo, and there were 2 of them standing there, and they didn't quite shoot me. They were, like, running around, so I dropped a proximity mine at their feet, and then got killed, but then it apparently blew them both up.
Well, here's the thing. They're all gone, so I'm just going to take it. Because I was right behind you, but I saw a guy who was...
oh, there you are. I see you. This is escort. So, see, I'm trying to come down there to escort you, but it's still that whole 2 steps forward, 1 step back jerky BS that's happening right now. But yeah, so in general... I mean, I really like the film. I haven't seen it quite as much as you have. But then I think my thing is... we're not very close to the theater, so for me it's about a half an hour to get there.
Yeah,
and it's kind of expensive because
2 theaters.
And I'm one of those. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna get myself some nachos and a drink. And nachos and a drink at the theater that I go to costs you more than buying 2 tickets.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
I'm with you. Yeah, because I've been doing that every time as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just for me. I essentially planned for this as a possibility. I still went broke. I haven't had much money until tomorrow. But you know, it's I still that was something I was like, okay, if I really like this film, I don't want to miss the opportunity to enjoy it because,
right?
You know, you've only gotten so many opportunities. You know, I've only seen. I never saw the original trilogy in theaters. I was too young initially, and then when they re-released them with the special editions, my parents didn't understand why I needed to go to the theater to watch a movie I had at home, and I mean that's just
because you want to see that you want to see the changes that weren't necessary.
Right.
Damn it.
Yeah, I mean that's just that. I mean that was kind of their mind. I mean, like now they would kind of grasp it more, but back in the day, you know, that was just kind of a thing with like, why would you? I don't get it. You know, why do we need a Blu-ray? We've got a DVD. They're just fine. They're both discs. They both play the same movie.
Like no.
But I mean, they've seen the differences now and stuff like that, and they're starting to kind of to get the concept of that. But
cool.
But point being, I've only ever seen the prequels in theaters. Now, granted, back at Celebration, I watched Revenge of the Sith in 3D, which is amazing because that's my least favorite film of the saga, and it got a full letter grade more from me at that time than what I had initially placed in 3D. The experience of it is so much better. The guy who did it actually even come out and talk to us, and he's the same guy who does the 3D for Star Tours, and he did it for all three of the films, and he basically said, hey, this is a new thing to me, and then they told me, go do this.
Go do the conversion. He's like, what?
This has not been working out well.
Yeah, this has not been working out well. Let's try 1 or 2 matches of something else depending on the time, and then we'll probably have to split it about the hour mark. But yeah, I want to see that. I've got one of those. I mean, I don't have a big 3D TV. I got one of those like little PlayStation branded 3D TVs when they were on sale, and you could get it for a little under $200. And it's been fun to watch. I think every so often you'll watch something new on it. Let's see. Oh, why not Heroes versus Villains? You said you liked it, and I still need to play as Leia another few times to unlock her on to unlock her on base command. But yeah, I mean, I would think this is their golden opportunity to do it, and maybe they can surprise us. It'll be like, hey, look, we've also done the other 3 like we said we were going to. We just didn't, reveal it to you that was going to be the case. But hey, here we go. And you know that...
Yeah, they... I was gonna say, they may be going back through and cleaning because he had them. He'd gotten so much better because I heard Phantom Menace not that great. Attack of the Clones pretty good, and then everyone.
Oh, you meant in 3D. You didn't mean as films.
Well, that's. I mean, that depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I know.
Like I said, personally, as far as story mode, I cannot deal with the story of Revenge of the Sith. It's so many people say, "Oh, it's my favorite." I mean, even Bruce, my co-host on Cloud City Casino, says that's his favorite one, and I'm like,
it was my favorite for a while, but it was my favorite in large part because of what I call the Stover effect. I mean, I had listened to the novelization prior to going to see it, and that made all the difference in the world to me. But lately I've sort of seen my opinion shift, and now I'm more of a Return of the Jedi guy, and then The Force Awakens sort of took the crown from me. I'm told that it was something where the process was refined so much by the time they get to Revenge of the Sith, just in the 3D conversion, that it's almost like a whole different level of technology.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah, by that point he pretty much had it figured out, and so it's like hopefully he'll get back to it, and what we get. We'll get good quality 3D versions of the other 2, but and I get the whole Stover effects. I know we're bouncing all over the place.
That's all right. We didn't have any set topics other than, hey, let's mention the Poe thing. So yeah, we've done that.
Right. I just like that. Still, to me, just doesn't explain the whole. Anakin, we need you to spy on Chancellor Palpatine. Well, why? Because there is he's been in power too long. There's a Sith Lord who's controlling the Senate. And then he goes to him, he's like, yeah, so I did that thing you guys wanted me to do. Turns out, Sith Lord, it's Palpatine. And they're like, a Sith Lord? And it's like, really?
Well, no, I even like the... Palpatine even says, he reveals himself as a Sith Lord, and then Anakin's like, I think he's a Sith Lord. Bullshit! You don't think nothing! Yeah. You know! What?
Either he's a Sith Lord or a liar. And either way, he should be executed.
Yep.
Yeah, it's you know, well, it's one of those things where, like I said, like, how is he not suspect number one? He's the one who had the most to
gain.
You
would think.
A child could have figured this out.
And yet Anakin did not.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Anakin, he may have been many things, but bright. I don't think they ever taught him that in Jedi school.
I'll have it turn out that that it really came down to it. It was he should have figured it out earlier, but Palpatine hid all of his thongs, not the thongs you wear on your butt, but the thongs you wear on your feet. But had he just walked into the closet and seen the thongs sitting there, the sandals sitting there, he would have realized, I hate sand. It's rough and coarse and son of a bitch, he's the Sith. Who else would like sand? And the whole trilogy gets done in a matter of minutes.
And it brings back my favorite line.
Oh God!
Everyone says, that line's
I hate
it's so
sand.
Good, though. It's so good. I mean,
it's rough and it's coarse. And it gets everywhere. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why did he have to do a loop-de-loop mentally as he said, and it gets everywhere. It's like, what?
I think, like I said, to me, it's him doing that character. Like, I don't consider that bad acting. I consider it maybe a really awkward and dumb line, but I feel like he delivered that
as best as he could, you know.
Yeah. I mean, how? I don't know that you could deliver that better, because
and that's one of those things that I think
at least got something out of it.
That I think is something that's a big point in favor of The Force Awakens. I mean, The Force Awakens has its moments where it slips into modern slang. Like, I'm not sure that we really needed the one black character to be the one going, hell no. I don't think we needed that. And yes, I did just exaggerate that.
That one I didn't as much. You know, the one that kind of bothered me but was also funny, so I was torn about, is
what's that?
Droid Please.
Oh yeah, droid please. And then there was what are you doing? I'm trying to tell you something. Why are you whenever Han's like nodding to Rey on the as she's climbing, but there's a significant difference. You can almost see a spectrum time-wise of how the language in the Star Wars universe changes, because you go from this really formal type that feels very stilted at times because Lucas didn't have anybody helping him write except for Jonathan Hales a little bit, but then you add I'm getting my ass kicked by Vader and I can't figure out why my trigger wasn't working. Like, I activated one of the abilities and just started pulling the trigger and nothing was happening. It was flashing, use R2, use R2, and I'm like, nothing's happening. But no, you get to the original trilogy, you have a little bit more looseness, mainly thanks to Han. And now we've got what almost feels like almost a modern American English with very little formality in The Force Awakens. And I know people have criticized it because of that. It doesn't feel majestic in that sense, but I don't know. I mean, I think it feels like the changing of an era more than it felt like like it was a poor creative decision. And you can sort of see that. I mean, you sort of see the same thing in the way that Abrams approached the new Star Trek films, you know, in terms of the way that the characters feel more modern in their phrasing, almost to the point of crossing over into slang that you wouldn't want to see him use.
Right. Yeah, it's like I said, to me, I had no real issues with it. Like I said, the droid please was a little much, but I still laughed, you know, at it and thought it was funny and enjoyable. And I think it's one of those things that where it is a little modern, I don't think that it's something that, you know, like I think the generations to follow will just think that, like, they won't think anything of it type of thing.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of the original trilogy worked. I think the problem is that for the prequel trilogy, it's so different from any generation of that time, really, that it was hard to I don't know, it felt so awkward. But,
yeah. And it was always going to be plagued by the fact that it was going to be judged against the originals. It was always going to be plagued by the fact that a lot of the people
Still,
reviewing it were people who grew up with the originals and expected a specific style, a specific way of speaking. They expected the whole, it's going to be a modern myth again, where, I mean, the prequels really were more designed as a modern tragedy than a myth.
Right. But in a lot of ways, I think its framework is solid when you look at it. It has that modern myth to it, but at the same side, it's sort of flipped on its head. Kind of how The Force Awakens is sort of doing, right? So, like I said, its framework itself,
haven't you heard The Force
solid.
Awakens is just a copy of A New Hope? What are you saying?
Yeah, because I remember when we had the stormtrooper who defected in A New Hope. So you're right, it's exactly the same.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? Duh.
Yeah, I love when people is like, oh, like I was talking to a guy who's like, oh, he's like, it's the same plot. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, oh, because he's like, it's a girl from a sand planet, and then they have the Star. I'm like, those are plot points. They're not the entire plot.
It's the same plot. If, for instance, Return of the Jedi and A New Hope are the same plot, right? There are so many different things you could draw parallels with them too.
But no, right. But it's again because my statement was, okay, if that's the same plot, every sports movie ever has the exact same
true.
sports.
That's true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like every Rocky film is the same.
That's true. This is true. Yeah, it's that formulaic type of thing. All right, so we'll do one more of these and then I can call it a day. And none of which really, except for the targeting rifle kills, is doing me any good on my challenges right now. But whatever. Instead of slowly working my way up, I'm trying to just hit that 50, unlock a couple things, and.
Before I got into being harsh on the prequels, which like I said, I think the framework's pretty good. I think that they're mediocre to decent films, but people, because of that, I think they've been they've been continuously lambasted.
Yeah.
Like I put something together and I did it sort of incidentally, and then I noticed a pattern. I'm like, well, that's hilarious. But I was like, they're not even the worst films to come out in their year.
Oh, heck no.
People continue to, and it's like, okay, so maybe it's fair to say, hey, these films weren't good, all right? So it's like, I think that's, personally, I think that's kind of leaving out a lot, but nonetheless, that's fine, okay. Someone said, these aren't as good, fine. But then to turn around and then 16 years later to just keep going and going and going, it's like, okay, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty over the top. Wow,
so
Han Solo just tore me to pieces.
The original trilogy is because of that, people expecting it to be just to fall right in.
Right. Which makes me wonder if, because what's the main criticisms being laid, one of probably the two main criticisms outside of they just don't explain enough. One of the two main criticisms right now of The Force Awakens is how much it's like the original trilogy. Do you think that if the prequels had been as much like the original trilogy as The Force Awakens is, would they have got that same blasting? It's sort of like the prequels almost were in sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation, right? If they had been too much like the originals, it may have felt like what people are saying about The Force Awakens.
So I think that no, because for one, I think that was kind of almost the birth of the internet as we know it today, type of thing. I think that a lot of people would have just accepted it for that and would not have had, they wouldn't have been able to really say much more on it, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the thing, everyone thinks that they're, and I've been called pretentious for this, but whatever, fuck you. I have actual, like, college level film, like I have, my minor was in film. I needed to get a real degree, so I took a different major, but point being, like, I minored in film. So it's hilarious to me that everyone wants to run around talking about things like they have this great knowledge of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, Dude, just because you watch movies doesn't mean you have a freaking clue what you're talking about.
Well, that's the internet, though, right? I mean, especially with social media,
Right.
everybody is an expert on everything, even if you don't know shit.
And that's not, and like I said, someone called me pretentious, and they're like, oh, so I can't talk about a film just because I didn't. And I'm like, no, you can, but don't sit here and perceive yourself as having a greater knowledge than what you actually do. Because that's what people do, and most of the time they're just parroting something else. So, but point being, like I was saying, you know, the films had a lot of errors. If you were to take, the, like, give it a original trilogy skin, and it still have the same flaws, as far as like. Let's see. I'm trying to think to say exactly. You know, like some of the dialogue flaws. You know, just some shots, because it's hard to say original trilogy feel and not point out how wonky some of the stuff was. You know, I mean, it's. Yeah.
But I wonder. I mean, a lot of that.
The point being, I think less people would have felt like. You know, a lot of I think critics would have still bashed it, but a lot of your, you know,
armchair critics.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to think of the exact terminology. Those people would not have as much. Those people would have, I think, or at least a greater majority would have bought into it. And I think that. I think that it wouldn't be getting blasted as much at this point. But
I'm so tired of this lag. Sorry.
I think a lot of it is the time period. For one, you know, when the movie first came out, the reviews were at 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and now, granted, a lot of people don't really understand how the Rotten Tomatoes reviews work. That means that 97% of the critics were giving it a favorable review, you know, a better than average review. But as time has gone by, especially more recently, it pretty much dropped to about 95, 94%, and then more recently, it has dropped down to 93%, because in the internet age, it behooves you to bash on something that is
popular,
critically acclaimed, right, because you're, you know, the thing is, you're going to stand out more, you know, always make yourself stand out, just like everyone's talking about the big Huffington Post article. That same guy wrote another article, because a friend of mine showed it to me. He wrote another article about The Force Awakens, praising it.
Wow.
He was writing clickbait. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like, I was gonna say it's
just writing clickbait.
Opinion at this point, depending on what site you're looking at, is essentially a clickbait thing, and that's actually. I mean, I think we've done a fairly good job of that with Beyond the Films, of just kind of keeping to the intellectual honesty. We're just going to tell you what we think and screw it if you don't agree. But at the same time, we're not going to play into it. Like when you came on. For those who are watching the stream who didn't catch this on Star Wars Beyond the Films, we did a review recently. A discussion on the book Aftermath. Michael really liked it. I really didn't. And Mark was kind of leaning towards the didn't. Or at least I didn't, because of the flaws.
I
think my thing was that...
Did I like this? Did I hate this? I don't know.
Well, I think there were things about it that I didn't like. I think in the end I felt like it was kind of mediocre. But in order to do a rational review of it, I mean, we did a first episode of a 2-part review. And the first part of it, for those who didn't hear it, was basically, okay, here's the crap about the writer on doing stuff on social media, here, and the hubbub that came of that. Here's, you know, the information about the writing style, and here's expectation versus reality. Because we had to get those things out of the way to be able to give the story its due and do a real review of the story. But at this point, it's almost like even... I mean, the fact that we did that, the fact that we felt like we had to do that, I think just goes into how completely intellectually dishonest most coverage of most entertainment things, and well, entertainment, politics, you name it. If it's something people feel passionate about, it's much better for me to be an asshole about it. You know, if I support Ted Cruz, it's better not to support Ted Cruz directly, but to bash and attack his opponents in outlandish ways, so that I get the coverage of, hey, look what this person said, aren't they entertaining, rather than just saying I support this person because of this, that, and the other. Like, I have yet to hear someone really give a full-throated, detailed breakdown of why they support Trump based on policies. But that's not what Trump is out there doing. I mean, Trump's thing is... Trump is like living clickbait. Like, Trump is like the clickbait politician. Whether you like him or not, I mean, that's kind of his style. And maybe that style appeals to you. But that's sort of the nature of how things are. And you're right. That there's a big difference between that type of culture now versus in 1999 or 2002 or 2005. I mean, it's significantly changed. And I wonder if it's less about the birth of the internet per se than it is about the birth of social media, or the advent of social media, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I think it's just a progression, and I think that it has to do with I think it has a lot to do with people basically wanting to stand out, having their having that outlet,
15 seconds of
social
fame.
Media, it really, exactly. Just like how now most people, dude. That's the one thing that I thought was kind of a joke or not a reality, but it so is. A lot of young kids today are far more interested in becoming, like, say, a YouTube sensation, like a Jenna Marbles, over being say, like an Adele. I don't know.
Well, dude, I mean, take a bath in bath in Cheerios and put it on the internet or Fruit Loops or something, and you can interview the president after a State of the Union. Apparently. All right, let me jump out of this because otherwise I'm just gonna run myself ragged. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. I wonder if 10 years from now, 15 years from now, especially once we have the context of episodes 8 and 9. If The Force Awakens is going to fare as well as it does now. I would like to think so, but then again, I'm a guy who, my very first episode of any podcast ever that I actually made myself, I was supposed to be a guest with somebody on those radio episode 1, released the same day that Attack of the Clones came out. I went to see it at midnight. I got home. That morning I reported a podcast, I put it up, and at the time I was Attack of the Clones is the best Star Wars ever. And of course now I look at it and it's probably second to last on my list out of the 7. And part of that, I think, is the analysis over the years of, you get that first experience and you have fun with it. But then over time, as you pick it apart, as you analyze it, you start to see different depths in some films versus others. And I just got to kind of wonder. Well, I would think it'll hold up better.
I think The Force Awakens is going to hold up wonderfully because at that point it's not going to be in vogue. Is that the correct terminology to be bashing it? So the naysayers now are going to fall off, and it's going. It's the things that are there about it. That's, like I said. It's, I mean, don't put too much stock into it, but when you get it that high, it's kind of a good indication that, okay, like I said, 93%. Critics say this is a good film. People down the way who, because like I said, they don't think for themselves, will say, this is a critically acclaimed film, so it is good. So I'll just accept that when I'm talking about films and trying to, sound smart to girls. I don't know how things work, but it's I don't understand these people's mindset, so I don't know. But I think that it will. If the next 2 films are in the same ballpark, basically. Right. Now, if the next 2 films, because we're getting different directors, apparently, the way I'm understanding it, Kasdan will not be involved at this point going forward.
I'm not sure if Kasdan is. I know that Kasdan, I think he was involved in, like, story treatment process, but I don't think he's going to be doing direct writing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He was involved on The Force Awakens, but the way I understand it, I think he's done. I don't think we're going to see him on the next 2. I mean, realistically, I can tell you, Ryan Johnson, I'm super pumped. I wasn't a big fan of Looper personally. A lot of people loved it. I think it had a lot of great things going for it. But for me, as far as the actual story goes itself, it was so frustrating because I'm like, wait, you did not explain that. Like, okay, why does this guy kill himself in the future, then grow up to be the future self, but then his young self doesn't kill him as the future self, and you never explain that? Like, that was a problem for me, and that kind of worries me a little bit, just because The Force Awakens left us with a lot of things unanswered, and I'm like, okay, right, like, don't do that again.
Yeah, that's right.
If he does.
Sorry, rewinding. Have somebody who apparently just came into the chat here. Yes, this is on PS4. Aiden, if you just came in, you just missed all of us playing the game for the last hour. We're finishing the conversation before we sign off here. I'm just going through the diorama. But so, I'm sorry, continue. I was just trying to make sure to hit that before the chat scrolled and it disappeared.
Yeah, I was just saying that with the states that The Force Awakens left us in, if we continue to leave those open, then that's going to be kind of frustrating. But at the same time, at least we have another film to go to from there. Then again, I thought Jurassic World was hot garbage, so I'm not. I'm a little. You
don't exactly have the pulse of the movie-going public. You're saying.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing, too. It seems like everybody really wanted to go see it a whole bunch, but no one actually liked it. I don't understand how that works, but it wasn't, there were so many problems that felt that just like, really? This is what we're doing? Like, what the? And like, oh, it's not supposed to be that. It's like, we made a monster film, and I'm like, no. I've seen monster films. I love like the old school monster film. I see where you did a couple of shots so that you can pin it on that, but a lot of other stuff don't make sense, and that doesn't make up for. I'm sorry, I didn't care for that. I mean, granted, we've still got JJ, who's as a producer. The way I understand it, he's going to help guide things along. Ryan Wilson. He's supposed to be writing this one, and I believe it's as great as what they're saying that it's going to be. He directed my favorite two, and it's so funny. They were my favorite two before I even realized that the same director did only those two, but those two episodes of Breaking Bad. He did Ozymandias and another one that I don't recall, but it's the one where Walt basically sells his soul, where it's a lot of visual representation in that, where if someone's not familiar with Breaking Bad, basically he sells drugs because he had cancer or whatever. Along the way, he goes from a teacher to being a drug lord, and he essentially loses himself. He becomes this Heisenberg character that was his street name or whatever, and basically he was getting paid in $50 bills, and the whole time he's driving this piece of crap car that he keeps repairing, and at the end he basically just says, you know what, screw it, because he's been trying to hold it together, and it's a metaphor for his life. And at the end he sells that car for $50, and then goes buys like this black Cadillac, and I'm like, that was freaking
that makes
awesome.
sense. That makes sense.
I'm like, that's great visual storytelling. So yeah,
cool.
I think they're going to be good personally going forward.
All right, we're gonna head out of here, folks. You were catching the little screen there. I was just to show something on the screen. I pulled up my stats. If you want to see much more detailed stats than what you can see on this screen, that's what I was holding up the iPad for. If you get the app will actually tell you things like how many of each type of match have you won, how many kills with each type of weapon, and that sort of thing. So if you're trying to figure out the diorama pieces and what you need for the next piece, best thing to do is to grab the app. Don't even worry about looking at the stat screen here. The stat screen on the game itself is pretty bare bones. It doesn't actually tell you anything. All right, well, we will head out of here. Of course, thank you for joining me, Michael. Hopefully you can hop on again sometime.
Yeah, man, just hit me up.
Cool. And of course, folks, again, that is Cloud City Casino. from Michael with Bruce Gibson over at StarWarsReport.com. Of course, Star Wars Report's Rebels Roundtable and Star Wars Beyond the Films that I am involved with are both also on StarWarsReport.com, and my Star Wars Timeline Gold is over at StarWarsFanWars.com/timeline. Also, the book, A Long Time Ago, Exploring the Star Wars Cinematic Universe, including an essay by yours truly. He just came out from Sequart. You can find it on Amazon and elsewhere, edited by, among others, Rich Handley. And Joseph, I think it's Brentato, I think is how you're supposed to say his last name. I keep messing up pronouncing his last name, but it's called A Long Time Ago, Exploring the Star Wars Cinematic Universe. And there are 2 more volumes in that set coming, one based on the books, one based on the comics. I have an essay in both. Those are coming soon. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch up to you later, perhaps with a more dedicated topic than, hey, let's talk about some Poe, like we did, right?
Yeah.